Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football Friday morning, and just an absolute home run hire for Jame Franklin and this Penn State football program as they bring in Stan Drayton to coach these running backs heading into 2025. Over the last 2 decades in the college football landscape, there just have not been many better position coaches than what Stan Drayton has done over the last 2 decades in this college football landscape. There's a couple of things that jump out to me first. Now, we're going to get into the hire of Stan Drayton. The amount of running backs that he's worked with over the last couple of years, over the last 20 years, is one of the more impressive lists that you'll see. Very, very good coach. I want to start with something different, and that is Jame Franklin and Penn State are clearly pushing their chips in to break through and win a national championship. You know, what's been the biggest knock, and two of my best friends are Penn State football fans, massive Penn State fans. We have this conversation all the time. And I'm sure Penn State fans that are checking this out have had this conversation too. Look, Jame Franklin has that stigma around him where, hey, it's a really good program every single year, but it can't break through and become elite. These hires that you've seen Penn State make, not only in the last couple of weeks with Stan Drayton, with Jim Knowles, but even going back 12 months ago with Coach Koldenicki, these are national championship caliber hires. It is becoming very clear that Jame Franklin knows he has the roster to win a national championship. Now we got to get everything else in place, and that includes the coaching staff. And the coaching moves that you've seen Penn State make, they're national championship caliber. That's the thing that stands out to me the most is Penn State's very clearly trying to get over the hump, and Jame Franklin's going to die doing so, or die trying, I should say. That's what I love most about this hire. Want to get into Stan Drayton, talk about what he brings, talk about who he's worked with over the last couple of years during his coaching career. Before we get into it, as always, just want to say thank you to you guys, to the Penn State fans. It's been a busy last couple of weeks talking this program. I've personally had a blast doing it. Cannot thank you guys enough for rocking with it. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Let it fly in the comment section. I know dang well that the Penn State fans are fired up about this one. Appreciate you guys. Without further ado, let's get into it. I think the thing that stands out to me the most is, look, Penn State over the last couple of weeks they've lost some really good coaches. And again, that's one of the things I appreciate most about the Penn State fans. There was no denial that Coach Jawan meant a lot to this Penn State program. There was no denial that Tom Allen was a really good defensive coordinator. When Ohio State lost Jim Knowles, all of a sudden the narrative from Ohio State fans was, look, Jim Knowles wasn't even that good anyways. Yeah, we won a national championship. Yeah, we had the best defense in the country, but Jim Knowles wasn't that guy. The Penn State fans fully acknowledged Coach Jawan and Tom Allen, they were very, very good coaches that played a very big role in the success that Penn State had in 2024. But the conversation was always, all right, how do we go get better? And I know it's crazy to say. You lose Tom Allen, who is one of the best defensive coordinators in the country. You lose Juwan Sauter, who is one of the best running backs coach in the country. Did you get better at both of these position coaches? Did you improve the coaching staff, even though you lost two really good coaches? I think you could argue you did. I mean, you look at Jim Knowles, I don't think there's a better defensive coordinator in the country. Now you look at Stan Drayton, although did not work out as a head coach at Temple, and I don't know a single head coach in the country that can make it work at Temple. As a pure position coach, as a pure running back developer, Stan Drayton's been elite. He's been elite for the last 20 years. There's two things that you want to look for when you're evaluating position coaches. Can you acquire the talent, and can you develop the talent? And if you grab a position coach that can do both, hey, I'm going to get really good talent to come play with me, and then I'm going to develop that talent at an elite level, chances are you're going to get a really good position coach. And that's exactly what Stan Drayton has done during his college football career. We're going to talk about what he does on the recruiting trail. Let's talk first about what he's done in terms of player development. Talk about Arian Foster at Tennessee. You talk about Brian Westbrook way back at Villanova. Obviously, a lot of Penn State fans familiar with Brian Westbrook. Carlos Hyde at Ohio State. Zeke Elliott at Ohio State. Bijan Robinson for a year at Texas. We're talking about some of the best running backs that we've seen in college football. Stan Drayton has played a part in developing. And now he's coming to Penn State with two of the most talented backs in the country, in Kaytron Allen and Nick Singleton. And over the years, this is what I really like about Stan Drayton. You've seen him have running back rooms that have some mouths to feed, some really talented rooms. And he's always done a really good job at balancing that out and say, hey, how do we get all these running backs the ability and give them the ability to make an impact on the football game? That's kind of the nuance with this Penn State running backs coach job. It's a good problem to have, but you got two really good running backs that you want to allow to impact this football game. Stan Drayton has showed during his college football career that, hey, I can work with two running backs and maximize both of them. Talent acquisition, which matters, especially as the running back. Like if you're a running backs coach and you want to have good running back room, you got to recruit some dudes. Look at the recruiting chops that Stan Drayton has. And the first thing I'll kind of point out is he's done a lot of work in the Midwest. He's done a lot of work in the Northeast. That's primarily where his coaching positions have been the last 10 years. He's going to be able to recruit the Midwest and the Northeast and the state of Pennsylvania, obviously, just about as good as anybody in the country. And you start scrolling down this list. I mean, these are not just like really, really good college football players. There's some of the better football players that we've seen in the sport. We recruited Cam Newton down there at Florida. Obviously, didn't really work out at Florida, but he was on him and got him to commit to Florida. Bijan Robinson, outside of Saquon Barkley, probably one of the better college football running backs that we've seen in the last decade. You start running down the list, and it's from everywhere, right? Marshawn Lattimore in Ohio, Curtis Samuel, Brooklyn, New York. You start scrolling down this list, Ezekiel Elliott, Missouri. I mean, it's Paris Campbell, the state of Ohio, done a really good job in the state of Ohio during his time with Ohio State. The amount of talent that he's acquired, and then you combine that with what he's done from a player development standpoint, when you get coaches that check both of those boxes, chances are you're going to have a really good running back room. You're going to have a really good running backs coach, and that's exactly what Stan Drayton does. He's an elite recruiter. He's an elite player developer. The same two things we talked about with Juwan Sider as well. It's crazy to say this. You lose Tom Allen, you upgrade with Jim Knowles. You lose Coach Juwan. You could argue Stan Drayton's an upgrade. And you lost two really good coaches, and Penn State found a way to go out and upgrade those coaches. What that tells me is Jame Franklin, this Penn State program, they are for real. They're not content going 10-2 and maybe just making the college football playoffs. They want to be a national championship team, and it's not lip service here. There's a lot of coaches that get up in front of the media and say, hey, we're trying to break through and become national champs. You have to back it up with your actions. With the coaching hires that we've seen the last guy, really going back to Coach Kolnicki last year, you've seen Penn State try to get over that hump. That's what fires me up the most. Yes, I'm a huge fan of Stan Drayton. What I'm even more excited about is this Penn State team pushing their chips in and saying, hey, we're a national championship caliber team, and we're going to go do that with the coaching staff that we're bringing in. We'll sign out there. Appreciate you guys rocking with it. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel, and we'll talk to y'all later. Peace.